Cole, so you built your business to $7 million a month, and you decided it wasn't worth it. What happened?
So basically, yeah, the short story is just kind of skip like the origin story, but I was doing about 100 grand a month in my business in what it would have been 2020. I was just doing sales training. I kind of went from sales training to training sales teams to doing sales recruiting. Then basically, once I made that flip to the offer of sales recruiting, that was in June of 2020. So this was even after during the pandemic. It just started. I mean, I knew I hit the offer right. I made one Facebook post, 170 grand off that post.
Wow.
And then so from that point, I went from about 100 grand a month, which I'd only been in business for 5 months, 6 months at that point, to 2.5 million a month in a 12-month span.
I've
And
never heard of that.
and so other people have done it,
Yeah.
but that was very fast. And so, and as you'll see in this story, I do a lot of things very fast, and that's kind of a learning lesson I've learned within itself. Then, so throughout that year of scaling, I had the B2B company was a sales recruiting. I also launched a B2C company that was sales certification, more for people who just wanted to get into sales. So a big misconception about my companies is that I train people on B2C and then I place them in B2B. It doesn't really work that way. I mean, we might place 10% of the really good ones from the B2C, but the majority of those people we're going to help get an entry level position. And then the B2B is just full cycle sales recruiting. I have like 16 sales recruiters. We do outbound. We do
You're on
all the
LinkedIn,
traditional
making money.
recruiting stuff, right? So there's a big misconception there. But anyways, so in the beginning though of 2023, we kept scaling. We're scaling really, really fast. We were doing about 4 million a month. And so we held that pretty much all the way through 2023 until Q4 we dropped off a little bit. But the reason we dropped off is at the beginning of 2023, I essentially broke off another division of my company to do equity partnerships with top clients. And that actually went really well. Every single person we worked with doubled, maybe even tripled in some cases. But like the way we structured the deals was all wrong. And it's not anything to do with the founders, but like we didn't have enough control to really go as fast as that we wanted to. And a lot of times, like you come in and you're working with somebody and you take their business from 200 grand a month to 400 grand a month. Like for me, that's like nothing, right? I'm like, how do we get to 2 million a month? For them, they just doubled their business.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was a lot of work for not a lot of return, even though on paper, things worked well. We just didn't have a high enough
It
percentage.
wasn't enough return for you.
Yeah. So I called all of those down into one deal because I was looking at all these deals. They're all like info businesses. I'm like, none of this is going to be like a 9-figure thing. And I was like,
Or maybe sellable.
I was very hell bent on it being that way. So I called it all down to a medical clinic. And because I was like, this one could be like multiple 9-figure type of operation. And so that medical clinic, we scaled from one location and we were 50. I restructured the thing. I was 50-50 with the doctor. We're still really good friends to this day. And we scaled that from 50K a month in one location to 6 locations at 3 million a month by January of 2024. So then with everything all together, we did 7 million cash collected in January of 2024. Now the problem is if you look at January 2023, my net profit was exactly, I mean, not to the dollar, but to the $100,000, the same, but with now 3 times the stress. And my core companies had gone down in efficiency a little bit. I lost a little bit of profit margin there, just focusing so much on this other thing. So I ended up shutting down the B2C, which was the RCA, if you're familiar with that.
Yep.
I shut that down. That was a mistake, but it was like a half mistake, and I could explain what I would do differently. And then I went another 6-7 months with the medical company, but then just for different reasons, some of it I probably shouldn't say publicly, but it's like a really long story. But I left amicably with that one and just decided to focus on my B2B essentially. So like I
Yeah.
rocket shot up and then back down to my B2B does about 2.5 million a month cash. So right back down to that. And so what I wish I would have done differently, and I can talk a lot about this, is with the B2C, it did need downscaled a little bit. We had lost some efficiency doing about 20 million a year with that. But dude, I had a non-brand face of me, different YouTube channel, not even my face,
Yeah.
generating 300 grand a month, just organic.
Yeah.
So if we would have ran like a little bit of ads plus the organic, we could have been doing like 500 grand a month with that, probably like more than 50% profit. But I just axed the entire thing. So that was dumb. But then basically I went through a year.
Well, hold on though.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning of why you chose to exit?
So out of everything, like the recruiting company has a great margin. So that company is my most profitable company, and it's the platform. Like that's how I mean, how part of the reason I scaled the medical company so fast was leveraging all of my distribution, a lot of the talent. I mean, I have a full-time recruiting team, 16 recruiters, all that stuff. So when you're like scaling another company from scratch, it's just awesome to be able to use that platform as like a force to just like we had 40 salespeople in that company, just bam, like that. So that company, obviously, I was gonna keep. That's also my baby. The B2C company, essentially that one, the operator of that company also was my operator in the medical company on the marketing side. So he was extremely spread thin, and I was extremely spread thin. So we both needed to kind of consolidate, and then we just felt the B2C
You bet on the
did
medical company.
yeah, it just didn't have the upside as the other one.
Yeah.
So but we should have just downscaled it to organic, whatever. But anyways, so then I go back down to one company, and it's I heard this quote the other day. I was telling my CMO this, and Jeff Bezos' mentor told him one time, he's like, Jeff, you have so many ideas, you'll just kill your company. It's like you only have to present ideas at the company your rate or at the rate your company can digest them. And so I'm like, I go from 3 companies to 1 company, and I got a lot of ideas now. And so like I put all of this energy into the B2B and just like made tons of investments in the company, built out several, it was just too much too fast. So I almost hurt that by having even more time.
By having one company,
I almost
you
hurt it.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's not because like I do understand like focusing on one thing, doubling down. I think that's very important. But yeah, at the same time, like don't launch 5 new like we were gonna launch a sponsorship events division where we're going to all these events. We launched an outbound division. I built an entirely different sales team for a different product line and a different funnel. So I just went and there was some more shit too. I just went balls to the wall.
You're like, "Hey, if I got
So
one
then
company, let's
so that
let's create lots
so
of
then that even
things."
made it worse.
Yeah.
And then, I kind of came to my senses February of this year. I cut some of those initiatives, brought this company right back to where it should be. And then what's funny is I came full circle. I'm starting the B2C now again. I know. So I just went like I just did a whole circle. But now I'm doing the B2C again. But we're gonna the silver lining is, when I started the B2C last time, like I wasn't really thinking about, I was like, you know, barely getting started. So I wasn't thinking about compliance. I wasn't thinking about like what this would look like at an 8-figure company. So now we're doing it in a much like the marketing is more straightforward, where it's more of a career op, not like a biz oppy type
Yeah.
of thing. Um,
Make 20,000 a month.
yeah, it's not like, learn a skill to do this and that and you never, it's much more straightforward, solution aware. We want to work with reps who want to get better. So it's a lot more clean than it
Yeah.
was before. And also we know how to get it now to 1 million a month, but with a 40-50% profit margin opposed to 1,500,000, 1,800,000 with, 20.
Right.
So that's kind of the story. It's like I did just this and I'm right back where I started. But I think next year will be probably a really good growth year for us for different reasons.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are just coming together really well on the B2B side and then also just restarting this back up.
It's funny, and I think this is gonna be a very long podcast because we have a lot of different things that have happened to us over the years and,
Yeah.
lessons learned, and there's very few people I can talk about, like, in depth who have experienced similar things. Um, but also too, like, as a client in your service, that was how we met.
Right.
And I think that would've been on the B2C side.
No, that was B2B.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
would have been B2B, okay. But, what's interesting is, my business took off in 2020 and 2021 as
Right.
well, and
We're in the same class.
yeah, and, we go from, I'm just this house flipper guy to all of a sudden I'm this social media
Right.
info guy, and now we're over 8 figures, and I got, different than you in that I started with lots of businesses.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, this one does a few million over here, this one does a few million over here, this one is 8 figures on its own," and, that was just kinda what I was building. And then real estate crashed in 2022 and just, like, sucked, and I'm like, "Well, that sucks," a lot of my stuff is real estate related and, all this stuff, and so, some businesses we winded down and just turned off, and then I found myself in 2024 for the first time, focusing on, like, one thing
Yeah.
after being a guy who had so many things going on, and I've always been a guy who had lots going on. I was playing pro baseball, being a business owner,
Yeah.
doing lots of stuff. I just am naturally that way. So I said, all right, everybody tells me to focus on one business, one thing. So I'm just going to focus on the real estate business. And, well, obviously I'm gonna flip houses and wholesale, but then I'm gonna have real estate education and that's it. And I did it for a year and it just kind of drove me crazy,
Mhm.
just only focusing on one thing. And, kind of like you, I'm like, well, we could start this division and this division and this division. And then it just, I don't know, it just wasn't fulfilling. So then here this year in 2025, I was just like, you know what? I tried it. I tried to do one thing. It's just not my thing. I'm going back to lots of things because I just enjoy doing that. So now, we got M19 and it's been
Yeah.
great and the golf and, you
It's
know,
full you're full circle like me, man.
yeah, I'm full circle
But
back
the
to
the
it.
big key is I mean, you can still grow one company very big. You just have to the main thing for me is I had to give the ideas and the initiatives at the rate the company could digest them.
Right.
I mean, I launched like 5 at once, you know? Just very stupid. And honestly, like I just needed to do a few here, few there, and then just also just wait and like okay, like now these new reps are ramped up. Okay, we're going to spend a little bit on ad spend. Anytime you spend more on ad spend, it's like more creative effort. So it's like more marketing effort, more creatives, spend more on ad spend, ramp the reps, wait, wait for LTV to catch up on the back end. Okay, then you scale a little bit more. And so that's really all it is now. It's like just
Let me ask you this. So I know that you've always been big on like book a call VSL funnels.
yeah.
And we could talk about what's happening in the info space overall. But I know that you built a lot of your business on that. We've talked about it over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
years.
yeah.
You're like, dude, I've been thinking about, you've asked me, you're like, dude, I'm thinking about doing events. Tell me about your experience, like
Yeah.
running live events and all this stuff. And we've just always kind of crushed book a call. And my guess is you probably looked at your top clients who were also kind of running similar models and you said, "Hey, if I just teach them my main funnels and my strategies and my team running them and my reps doing it, like we're going to crush it with just like the same strategy marketing wise, but different products." Versus when you went to just one company, one thing, you're like, "Well, now I need different strategies. I
Yes.
need sponsors, I need events,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
this." And so it's like, yeah, you had one core offer, but now you had 5 ways to try
Yeah.
and get to it.
Yeah, I used to say it's not how many offers you can sell, it's how many different ways you could sell the same offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't try 5 different ways at one time. That's the big lesson. But no, I mean, like, so in terms of what's working, like
But let me ask
oh,
you, do you think there is truth to maybe what if you were just so good at book a call and then you partnered with different offers where you could really optimize the one thing you're really good at marketing wise?
yeah. Well, here's what I'll say. Number 1, what I've learned is we are really good at book a call. I got a little antsy, like, we need to do something besides book a call. To be honest, if we just made more creatives, improved our funnel, did more CRO, continued to up-level the sales team, continue to up-level the setting team, get back NLTV higher, like basic business fundamental stuff. There's just more scale in the book of call. So, um, yeah, I mean, that for the existing business is how I feel about that. Now, a way I thought about a lot of these business partnerships I did. Now, granted, they actually all worked. I scaled them like
Yeah.
crazy. But how I did think about those was the traditional, like, when all you have is hammers, everything looks like a nail. I
Yeah.
mean, and even when I look at businesses now, I literally, like, I just can't help myself. I'm just like, will this work with a book a call funnel and a sales team?
Exactly.
That's like all I think
My
about.
main thing.
But it's very interesting because Mark Ford said this, who is the co-founder of Agora, is like whenever you're starting another business, you want to go one step away. So there's like 2 core parts of your business if you think about it. There's like the actual business and the product and the way you fulfill and how the business operates, and then there's the way you acquire clients. And you never, like in his advice, I'm not saying you should never do this, but in his advice, you don't want to do something where both those things change. What you want to do is keep one of them static and then change one. So a good example of that is, with sales recruiting, we launched an outbound division. So I'm changing the way I'm selling. I'm changing the acquisition. Product's the same. But then with the medical company, the acquisition was totally the same. But then obviously the product, the business, et cetera, was different.
Right.
So I always kind of think of it that way.
Yeah. It's interesting, you're talking about the acquisitions and I think buying businesses and consulting for equity was like a big thing,
Oh, I
back
caught the
then.
trend big time.
Yeah, like I mean, Hormozy was talking about
Yeah, I
it,
caught
you're
the
doing
trend.
it, others were doing it, and then it seems like it didn't really work out for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done well, but outside of him,
Well, I don't even think he's done like I remember him saying that pretty much most of them,
He
they were,
called, yeah.
yeah, he was like,
Well,
same thing.
and
He
and
bought
this
them
is what
back.
I realized. I don't know what his, outlook is on it, but what I realized is that, number 1, having minority, it's
And I think
just
that was the problem. It's
that's
like he
like
had a bunch of minority stakes. You had a bunch of minority stakes.
yeah,
You don't have control.
it's like having like, I was doing minority, and instead of putting in money, I was exchanging for services. So, like, I was getting a minority position in exchange for running their marketing and doing their sales,
Right.
which is an issue because the founder becomes the bottleneck very quickly. And then you're just kind of like trying to scale the business, but they're the bottleneck, and then you don't have any control. So
Right.
it's it's also extremely frustrating, which is the other issue of it. And so I think what you need to do is it's either if you do a minority, it's like you put in money, you might consult somebody and give them advice or use your platform to help promote it, but like you don't do anything, right? Or you just get majority control.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's like a barbell. I was like in the middle of the barbell,
Yeah.
whereas you need to be on one end or the other. So now I have two software companies, which I have 25% or less in. And I mean, I'm more of an advisor. I use their product is perfect for my customers that are
Yeah.
sales teams. So like I use, I let my these are products I use. So
Yeah.
I would be referring these businesses to customers anyways.
Yeah.
So I let my customers know about it. I might be in the ads. I'll shoot some ads for them or something, but I'm not like in it trying to like build their sales team or do this or do that. And both of those have gone phenomenal, you
So
know?
I'm not gonna say what because it's not official, but I just partnered with a company, and it's not officially like equity until certain numbers are hit, right? That way we can evaluate whether or not we truly want to work together and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But I'm gonna be in control, like pushing it forward. And I will have majority, well, not majority, but 50-50 and but like control.
Hmm.
Um, doing what we gotta do. Because I'm with you. Like I just have realized that if we're not the decision makers and people want to partner with us to begin with, then we should have control. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't what would be the point? Why else would you want to partner?
Yeah.
Right? You're like seeking out partnership because we can help you from, like you said, whether it's brand, whether it's strategy, whether it's our team, whether it's, whatever. So, yeah, we just structured a unique deal where it's like, hey, basically year one is a test, but as long as we hit these metrics financially, then invest.
Hmm.
But we're going to treat it as if it's already this way.
Yeah.
We're going to see what it would be like to work together in this fashion for the first year.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Um, but let's talk about the info business as a whole
Mhm.
because it's drastically changed. I remember, and I just saw you post about this. You said you noticed things changed, in late 2023, and I remember like calling you. I was like, "Hey, what are your clients seeing right
Yeah,
now?"
yeah, yeah.
Because I'm seeing my own business start to not look good, and I know if it's hard for me, then it's got to be really hard for other people who don't have organic and other stuff.
Well, that's a big part of it, right? So I would say there's a lot of things. I mean, I think number 1, if you look at supply and demand and market entrance velocity in 2020, when obviously it was COVID and everybody's online, there's a ton of people coming into the market. So like me and you were just perfectly positioned for that. That's why we just like rocket shipped so quickly. I mean, I think we would have grown quickly no matter what, but not that
That
quickly.
was the perfect timing.
So it was perfect timing. I also had clients. I mean, if I look back, there's some clients I know who rocket shipped back then to 1 million a month who like
Suck.
weren't yeah, like they weren't like 1 million a month type of businesses that we would work with now. So I think a lot of it was there's so much people entering the market and there just wasn't like enough so there's a lot of demand, not a lot of supply. Then obviously that catches up. And then as things become normal, also interest rates go up, economy is just getting worse and worse, affordability is getting worse and worse and worse. Things start to come down a
Yeah.
little bit. And then on top of that, things start to come down. And then the way that looks too, because there's less people in the market and it's more of circulating the same people, is they become more jaded. They've seen the same stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like, everybody's like, oh, it's a trust recession or whatever. I mean, I think there's some truth to that. And then the other trend I'm seeing, and it relates to all of this, is if you were selling like the more towards if you look at, let's say, our space, there's like a done for you service, and then there's pure information. The more you are towards pure information, which like having a program with 2 group coaching calls a week, I would say is like pure information pretty
There's no
much.
implementation, there's no
Yeah, the more
services.
closer you are to that, the tougher it is unless you do something really unique. You know, like something that nobody else is doing and it's a good like there's certain people who just have a really niche thing. You're going to be fine.
There's no other
But like if you're
educators.
like I'm marketing to people who need sales reps in the industry. So these are like I'm marketing to the most advanced marketers in the industry, you know? So the people who tend in our space are doing a lot better. There's more services components to what they're doing. And
Yeah,
there's much more longevity to that. And especially if you're B2B and you're doing services with B2B, you can have a way bigger LTV and a way bigger back end. So our back end is huge, which is why we've been able, even as ad costs have gone up and show rates have gone down, we've been able to manage that a lot. A big thing that nobody talks about, this is a huge part of what happened in 2023 is, I mean, most of the industry does run on call funnels. It's the easiest funnel to do, in my opinion, or some version of it. And in Google in June of 2023, released that update where you got to click I know the sender and add it to my calendar. So basically if they haven't interfaced with your business domain before, it will not show up on their Google Calendar. And so I've tracked it back and I've even looked at a lot of clients. As soon as they rolled out that update, our show rates went down. I forget the exact percentage, but we'll call it like our show rates were 75%. It went down to 60. And so we've had to make a lot of changes. I mean, my CMO even built a whole software company to address that problem. And so we've actually been able to get it back up quite a bit. But that's another thing. I mean, if you imagine running a sales team with 75% show rates versus 60
it's
is a
huge.
huge difference. And we had like 75 was pretty high. A lot of people were at 60, 65 and went down in the 40s.
Yep.
So that was a big thing. Now you got to double book appointments. So imagine just even that
You need
alone.
to get double the appointments that you were
Now
before.
you got to spend twice as much.
Yep.
Right? So I think those things kind of culminated to a lot of the issues. Now that being said, I kind of went through a phase where I was like, man, maybe the call funnel wasn't the thing anymore. I'm going to do this like low ticket. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Honestly, the the call funnel is still our best funnel. And I went through a phase of trying to implement tons of different stuff, like everything, but just focus on the main thing. And then my CMO finally just had a intervention with me and was like, dude, I think if we just spent 3 months and like only made tests on this funnel, we'd probably make more money than doing a bunch of random shit. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And lo and behold, it worked. So our call funnel's still really good. You could still do it well. It's just harder than it was before.
What are you testing on it?
So I mean, the way we looked at it is we looked into two different things. We looked into number one, show rates. What can we do to improve show rates? So we tested a bunch of stuff there. Number two is what can we do to bring MQL down, cost per qualified application? And so, through that, it was like, what crazy creative tests can we do? I mean, we CRO'd like every single step of our funnel. We tried all the sorts of different funnel designs. So we split tested all of that. We did way more VSLs on the show rate side, all the LNS copy and the confirmation copy. We did this test, we did that test, we did this test. We tested all the pre-call videos. We tested the times we were sending. I mean, basically, like we just did a whole brainstorm as a marketing team of any possible test that we could do. I would say the biggest lever, it's not going to be a surprise, is not just making more creatives, but and this is a big thing now. People are saying with the Andromeda update, but I think it's always been this way. Is like when most people hear make more creatives, what they really do is they make 5 creatives, and then they like change the first sentence, change the background, change this, and they make 200 micro variations of the 5 creatives.
Yeah, yeah.
It's much more powerful and I'm not saying that's bad, but it's much more powerful to make 50 like fundamentally different creatives and then that can turn into 1,000 creatives, right? But like the more fundamentally different creatives you have, it's almost like a bucket. Cause like even for us, most of our ads right now fall into like 3 different buckets to where within those buckets, the messaging is kind of the same. So we can make a bunch of variations there, but to really get more scale or bring down costs and cut your worst performing campaigns, we almost need to create like another bucket, if that makes
Yeah, no,
sense.
I get it. Are you only doing video? Are you doing pictures and
They
stuff
both
too?
work. I mean, mainly video though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to your point about if you're just pure info, it's getting hard. I've
Yeah.
been saying that. I had Jeremy Miner on yesterday actually, and we were just talking about it. And I go, I don't know, dude. Like I'm of the belief that information's worthless, like soon. Just in terms of like trying to sell it when it's so just freely attainable. And when I
Mhm.
say worthless, clearly it's worth something, But like, to your point, right? If your offer is $10,000 for one group call a week and
Yeah.
like that's all you're getting, it's like, bro, like, yeah, that worked in 2020,
Yeah.
but I don't see it having much value today,
The
right?
the more services I think you can add, the better, even for B2C type of stuff.
Yeah. So I came to that conclusion last year in
Right.
2024. And so I started trying lots of things. I'm like, well, let's try the low ticket subscription thing. And, that was not worth it. Then I said, you know what? I'm going all in on services.
Yeah.
So I revamped our entire thing and I said, all right, a wealthy investor, no longer are we going to just teach you how to invest in real estate. I'm going to give you motivated seller
Right.
leads. I'm going to give you a CRM. I'm going to give you a deal finding software. We have lending available now. We're going to give you true one-on-one coaching whenever you need it. People can hop in a Zoom room right now and get one-on-one help at any point throughout the workday.
Right.
Um, we're going to make it so service-based that the education just supports the services,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? And that brought it back.
And that's kind of how we always were too, because I just was more like when we went through all this, I mean, did it impact us? Yes. But I mean, I saw people get wiped out who were like legit people in the industry. And
What year are you talking?
this would have been 2023, 2024,
Right.
probably 2024.
Lots of info guys went under.
And the big thing that helped us is, I mean, kind of like what you said. I mean, we always have a service in the recruitment. And
Yeah.
then obviously a very hands-on service with our account manager, working with sales teams, training sales reps, like a tangible value add there. And then all of our content just supports what we're doing with
The
that.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And people, and it's funny, like nobody buys for the content. I even tell my sales team, like, I'll catch a sales guy like showing somebody the portal.
You're
And
like, bro, they don't care.
I'm like, dude, just don't even do that. Just stop. Just stop. But, what's funny is once they get in, they start going through it, they'll be like, oh, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
You know? And there is value to, like, information is abundant, but structured information in the right way is still I still think is valuable. But do people buy that? No.
And that's kind of my point.
Yeah,
Like,
unless it's very unique. Unless it's
well, and what a lot of guys are doing now is just releasing their entire course on YouTube.
yeah.
And it's like a super valuable lead
Yeah.
magnet now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're on the same page with services for info. I have a new theory too. And it's what I'm like going all in on besides services. And my theory is that with AI just continuing to eliminate a lot of things,
Right.
and just making information so easy to get. My theory is now, okay, what is the anti-AI? Well, the anti-AI is this
Yes.
human interaction,
Community.
right? And it's not just digital community, it's full on in person, real life stuff.
Yeah.
And so, part of the reason why I created M19, our golf mastermind, was okay, there ain't no way anything could ever stop this. In fact, I
No.
think AI makes it even better because it's like, bro, I'm so tired of just being virtual. Like, you guys are going to go to Pebble Beach and go play with other 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs. Like, I'm in for that.
Yeah.
Let's go. Have the 30 other guys just like that going to Pebble Beach. I was going to go anyways.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I launched that and it's been like my fastest growing business ever. And I'm like, this is nuts, dude. Like, this is 7-figure business in less than 90 days at like insane margins.
And it's fun.
And it's the best business ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's fun.
I got no problem. Dude, I got to go golf for a living now. This sucks. So, we do that. And then I just decided, I took WealthCon. I've had WealthCon now for the last bunch of years. We've thrown so many of them, 1,000+ people. And I just realized the demand for like massive in-person conferences is drastically going down. And I said, well, why don't I just take what I learned from M19 and apply it to that? So now it's like, okay, we're going to switch it and just do this event, and I'm calling it Forge. And for live person events, you pay just a yearly membership for it, but it's not like a 30-50K mastermind. Their renewal is just $5K a year, and you can attend any of the 4 events or all of them, right? And I'll have a call once a week, and it's like very low headache stress. There's no like coaching or services.
Yeah.
It's just purely like people
Yeah.
gathering, and
Yeah.
the events are sick. Like one thing we do really well is we're really good at live events, and that's like a hard skill
Yeah.
to do. And I'm like, I'm just going to embrace live events because we're just good at it. We've been doing it a long time, and very few can execute it.
Yeah, that's good. And also, I mean, it's I do think that is the biggest thing that's going to be AI proof,
For sure.
so to speak.
And for me anyways, when I look at it now, I'm like, okay, on the recurring side of things, we can go have a bunch of recurring on this. Like I think we'll be at between the two of them in the next 12 months, I think we'll get to at least 5 million a year recurring. And like there's almost no cogs
Yeah.
to the recurring. So I'm planning for that. But then it's like, what's the LTV
Mhm.
on not just the recurring, but what all these people need? Because you're technically not selling them any of your high ticket offers. You're selling them just memberships to your amazing events and experiences where they're going to end up getting a taste of the other stuff you could do anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good feeder, you know?
But it's a top end feeder that's like already good,
Yeah.
even if you never like did anything LTV wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I mean, our events, I mean, that's again like and it's kind of a weird way we've done it with the back end because it's people come in for sales recruiting, but the way I launched ours is I just was like, man, I have like all the top people in the industry in this who are in my services.
Right.
So let me just
Let's
get
get them all
them, let
together.
me just get them all together. And so, yeah, we launched that. And I mean, it does add a ton of stickiness because people get enveloped in a certain community and we have like a certain culture even
Yeah, for
to
sure.
our events. And so that's a killer for our LTV, you
Yeah.
know?
I think it's for LTV, reduces churn, it gets people bought in, it becomes more than information and even more than services,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. For anyone who's in info, I'm sure a lot of info people are going to watch this. Like, I'm a huge believer in services and live events.
Yeah. I agree.
So you had mentioned something else too. You're one of the only guys that I watch, and I wish you would post more. Um,
We can talk about it. We can talk about it right now.
talk about it.
So, this is partly one of the things I wanted to talk about while I was here and also just observe what you're doing because I finally, like I've been like meager lukewarm with it. But I've finally gotten to the point where like, okay, I'm gonna have to take this fucking seriously. And and I'm hiring an in-person content director. So I'm like in the process of doing that now. And then similar to what I think you're kind of doing, I'm not sure. But like part of the reason of bringing back that B2C was that for them to join the program, I got this from Pace Morby, is they're gonna have to fly out as soon as they join and do an event with me.
Yeah,
And at first, we'll just rent an office. Then I can just get something like this.
yeah,
And it'll be kind of more of a media type of office. I mean, if I want maybe a couple of offices for some sales guys or whatever, that's
yeah. I'll give
totally
you the
cool.
tour. Our upstairs is our sales and marketing.
Nice. So they'll fly out, they'll do an event with us. And then that event, I'm going to structure it so that like I can get 2 YouTube videos out of it
Yeah,
based on the keynotes, a ton of shorts. Cause like, I know Andy Elliott, he's local right down the street from where I am. He does such a great job with his shorts. He's just training people on sales,
he's just working
you know?
what he's normally doing.
And like, I mean, how many hours of that do I have? But it's virtual in my office,
Yeah, it's
and
boring.
I enjoy doing it in person. So that's going to be a big cornerstone of it, as well as just getting somebody in person, getting my studio much better, having an actual physical location that's kind of like an HQ, even if we have some remote people, and just like up leveling what we're doing on YouTube, going much broader there. Um, on Facebook and some other platforms, I want to post more of like probably the stuff that you would like, which is like updates of like what is actually going on in our company and like more stuff that's probably interesting to 7 and 8 figure
Yeah,
people. But like YouTube would be more top of funnel, Instagram more top of funnel, stuff like that. But I'm kind of really trying to just build out that department because the big benefit is not just the direct leads you get from it, but and you probably you're not going to know the difference, right? But I was talking with Hormozy and like he's somebody who can definitely see the difference, obviously, is when you have a huge content base, the real benefit is your ads just work so much fucking better. Because like I consult somebody privately and they're like a massive name in the space. And I'll look at their ads are so bad. But their cost per book call is like $50. And I'm like, dude, if I ran this ad, my ROAS would be precisely zero. It would be
nobody
zero.
buying
It'd
this.
be zero. I wouldn't even get a lead. But they're just throwing up something. It's like a clip with a CTA, and they're getting like $50 qualified calls.
Yeah,
And it's just because when somebody sees that guy's ad, that's probably the 10th, 20th, 30th impression they've gotten from them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not really, even though, and a lot of people will say who have these big brands, they'll be like, oh, but no, like we're running cold traffic. We're not even running, the algorithm's so good.
Yeah.
Like somebody could watch your YouTube video a couple of times and then send it to somebody, boom, they're going to see your ad, even if it's on a different platform like Facebook.
Yeah.
So like, it's just like there's a natural retargeting that kind of happens.
Yeah.
So that's a big initiative for us. And then you were saying something else.
Um, well, I was just saying,
Oh, you're
like,
saying I wish I would post more content.
yeah,
And you were going into a question, but I'm trying to. And I want to see what's going on here.
yeah, I'll give you the tour after and
Yeah.
show you how we do things. But you know, it's interesting because you and I have talked about organic and paid behind the scenes a lot. And you know, to your point, right? A guy like Hormozy was doing only paid for a long time,
Right.
and then he went organic, and now he's merging both and killing it, right? I was only organic at the beginning. My first 3 years, I mean, we almost did probably 10 million in sales with no ads.
Yeah.
I didn't know
You
how to
just
run
didn't
an ad,
know.
right? And I remember marketers would be like, "Bro, please let me just run retargeting ads for you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't need it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm good." And then I learned the paid ads game the last couple of years when
Yeah.
things got hard. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to like learn how to do other stuff.
Right.
I'll have to actually learn how to build a funnel. I don't even know. All I knew was book a call."
Yeah.
And ironically, it's interesting to this day. I've tried many ad creatives, and I think my ads suck. Okay, I don't even think they're good. I literally sit right here in this desk and I film ads for 2 minutes. I go on chat and I'm like, "Hey, chat, I need some new ads for M19. What do you think are like 5 good hooks?" Chat's like, "Here's 20." I'm like, "Sick." Boom, 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 boom. I knock them out and I go, "Okay." Then I just rip the body. I'm like, "Hey, if you want to be in a bucket list golf trips and with
Yeah.
7, 9 figure entrepreneurs, just click the link, dude." That's it. I film ads for 5 minutes and that's what I do. But then, like, I've done other ads, like, where I really worked at it. Like, where I was like, we got freaking skits. We did this stuff. I've gone to the golf course, and I'm talking all businesses, but, like, let's just keep it on M19. I've gone to the golf course, and I'll get me swinging and this, like, crazy panoramic cool stuff. And, you know, I'm like, "Guys, you want to go to, like,
Mhm.
Cabo and all this stuff? And, you know, let's kill it." Bro, me sitting here in this chair with this background has never lost.
Yeah.
It has beaten every ad. Just the simple, direct, to the point.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, here's what I'll say. That doesn't, a lot of times when people get cute, like you see people do the hero ads, right? Where it's like they're trying to do like a squatty potty type of ad.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
go
talking about?
crazy. Yeah,
A lot of times
highly produced.
those rarely ever perform. And a lot of times the much more simpler iPhone, just sitting here saying stuff, whatever, performs much better. I think there's a median between that because part of the reason I think those are working better is you're being more intentional about your hooks and your copy.
Yeah,
Then when you're out and about and you're trying to kind of use props and skits and whatever, it gets a little too cute. And it's like people can't figure out what's in it for me very quickly. Cause like call out what's in it for me and why should I listen to you?
yeah,
They need to get that immediately. It's much easier to do that sitting down. I think probably you could. I haven't found ChatGPT that helpful with copywriting. Like I think to really create some bangers, you still need a little bit of like the old school skills.
yeah.
You should read Great Leads. That's a good book.
I'll write it down.
That's one of the best books on copywriting I've ever read. And there's also this Notion doc that I don't know who created this thing, but this thing is just I'll just read this Notion doc. It's like a library of hooks, and it'll just get me spitting ads.
Hmm.
It's like crazy.
Yeah,
So you could probably take that to the next level
yeah,
because ChatGPT, I don't know. It's just what I found with ChatGPT is it's good for editing and it's good for I'll be like, hey, rewrite this a couple of times, and I won't like the ad, but it'll say something that I'll be like, oh, that's a good hook. And it'll be like in the middle of their copy.
yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna take that
I've never
and
like
run with it.
I've never done ads full. I only ask for hooks and then I freestyle the rest.
Yeah, you could probably get a lot better.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I have no prep of anything.
Yeah.
I literally live every day just
Yeah.
like
The key is like the way to make those more cute ads or whatever you want to call it, like a hero ad work is you gotta maintain the principles of like the call out, quickly what's in it for me, etc. Like you have to nail
while
that.
telling the story.
Yeah, while doing the rest of the stuff. Like a lot of people, like we made a couple of these And then the issue is you're 30 seconds in, you're not even really sure what it is.
What
That's not going to work.
what I think the reason I think this specific background works and
But
you know,
also because that's where they see you.
correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's just familiarity with it
Yeah.
because they've seen so many clips and
Yep.
all these things. And so when I'm just here, I don't know if maybe people think it's like a true organic piece of content. And so they watch the ad, or if they're just like, oh, yeah, it's familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the familiarity helps.
Yeah.
And I also think you're probably much more intentional about what you say when you're here.
Right.
Whereas when you're out and about and if you're freestyling a little bit in the chair, I mean, dude, you're probably freestyling hard on the golf course, trying to do the swing,
Yeah.
it's like you got to keep the copy pretty tight,
Yeah.
even in those settings.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned this though, like you were like, hey, all I did was focus on ads. They got me lazy
Oh, yeah.
because I
Yeah.
just was
So you
able
saw that post. It's crazy, man. I built my business to 500 grand a month through Facebook posts.
Uh-huh.
And then I just stopped.
Yeah. No, like
that makes no sense.
this is what I was going to tell
It's
you.
like, why did I do that?
I really don't watch a lot of social media. I only like watch stories a lot of times on Instagram. That's about it.
Yeah.
And then YouTube golf. But for whatever reason, you don't, like I said, you don't post much, but Instagram knows I like when you do. So I see a lot of your
Oh, really?
post. And so
Interesting.
I saw the one you made about being lazy.
Yeah. Oh, that was on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, so I posted that on Facebook. My guy must have repurposed on an Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean,
wouldn't see
like,
any of your
the
Facebook
long,
stuff.
the long and short of that is, I mean, dude, if you had ads working in 2020, I mean, you really didn't need organic, dude. That's just the truth. Now, the shame is I look back and if I just would have taken it even lukewarm seriously back then, I'd be so much further now. Cause I just didn't stay consistent with it.
It was too
And I
easy
mean,
to make
I
money.
dropped, yeah, it was way too easy. And I was scaling so fast. I mean, I was not even demand constrained. I was like trying to hire people as fast as I could and put in leadership systems. And so I'm like, I don't need more. Like my my LTV to CAC was like at one point like 30-1. Like I didn't even need like less CAC or more leads or whatever. I'm like, why am I even doing this content thing? And you kind of my ego got involved in it too. I'm like, oh, all these people are spending all this time making on content. That's like fucking stupid. I'm just gonna run an ad, you know? And I mean, granted, for those years it was great. Now, like I said, it's not an either or approach of just trying to have a huge amount of traffic through content. I think the real benefit is it makes your ads work so much better because it just differentiate I mean, if somebody sees 3 identical ads, but one person they've watched even a couple of pieces of content from, that's the ad they're going to click. I mean, it's a huge competitive advantage. And so a big part, again, like I said, we're bringing in in-person creative director. I'm kind of going to try to do something like this. And where was I going to go with that? I don't know, but we got to
Yeah.
be going for it.
Well, I mean, it's hard, dude. If you're getting 30-1,
I know.
like,
Yeah.
you didn't do anything wrong. Like,
Oh, this is what I was going to say. The big thing that really shifted for me was I was talking with Hormozy and he was like, how many hours? He basically told me this story. I'll tell you who it is afterwards. But he was having dinner with somebody who's now also really big. And this person was bragging about like, oh, dude, I get my content down to 2 hours a week. And Hormozy was like, yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
Like you get no views.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I spend 25 hours, maybe 30 hours a week on content.
Yeah.
And it just like, next thing he's like, okay, I get it. And the next thing and he's also spending a certain amount on content.
Yeah.
Right. With his team, et cetera, whatever. So it's like, next thing you know, he just, that guy in particular just nuked it. Just like he got it. And that was the same thing I got is I'm like, dang, like I was really trying to, okay, how can I optimize this content thing? So it's just like over here, I can do the bare minimum and then I can run my business. But
it don't work like
where
that.
I'm really setting it up as is like, okay, this is the main responsibility I have to my team on our business. So I need to get everything in order so I could just focus on this.
I will 100% confirm that as a guy who started with organic and built his whole business off organic.
Yeah.
That when I first was looking at it, I was already a house flipper and I was doing great. And I originally was like, yeah, content sounds like a good idea. Who can I hire that can just freaking do it for me and whatever? Like that's your first thought when you're good at delegating.
Yeah.
And I realized no one could. And then I remember sitting there during COVID and I was like, man, if I really wanna do this, it's gonna like, there's literally it's undelegatable. Like, I
Yeah.
have to do it.
And you have to be involved.
Yeah, like, I literally have to develop the brain of a content creator to know what people want, how to retain attention, how to hook people, how to create great thumbnails, titles, uh, ideas, and I gotta be willing to do this forever,
Mhm.
because if you stop, you lose relevance.
Yeah.
And I literally counted the I was like, "Man," because you look at a guy like Dave Ramsey who's been doing this for 40 years,
Beast.
doing a talk show,
Yeah.
talk show, the same topic for 40 years or
I know.
whatever, right? And you look at guys like Cardone and others who have been at this for a really long time.
Yep.
And I'm like, do I see myself doing this for the next 30 years? If not, there's no point to even dabble.
Yeah, I think the other benefits of it too, and this is what I overlooked back then because I didn't need the leads, but what would have helped is just having a bigger audience to pull from, just recruiting internal talent. That helps.
Yep.
Deal flow helps of like opportunities, network, stuff like that. I mean, I've run so much ads that I actually kind of have a little bit of like people in the space know who I am,
Yeah.
even despite less content. But still, I mean, that would help as well. So it's not even just like my brain is getting because it was very okay. Well, how many leads am I going to get? How many sales am I going to get? I have a different view of it now than I used to.
I would also say with you, you would be well known to people in this space, like you said, but they would say, "Yeah, I've heard of Cole's company." But I would say that most people wouldn't know really anything about
Well, here's
you.
the difference. So I'm in Vegas. I'll probably get stopped once, maybe a couple. It's happened to where it's a couple times. It's sometimes, but when people stop me, they just go, "I see your ads." And then they just keep walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like now I've been with other people who have a brand like you or, let alone a Hormozy or somebody like that. If he gets stopped, I mean, people are basically in fucking tears, right? So there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like if I go to a mastermind, I mean, people will know who I am in that circle, but they'll be like, "Oh my God,
Your
I get it,
ads.
I get it so often." They'll be like, "Dude, I've seen so many of your ads." So I mean, it's better than nothing,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's like, it's running a bunch of ads. It's not a relationship.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
They don't know you,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'll get people at my events and everything else. They're like, dude, they know about my kids, my wife, my
Yeah.
family, my faith beliefs, my new business venture, you know. Like the moment I started the golf thing, people are like, bro, like, how's the golf thing work? Like, I just got into golf. Do I got to be good at golf? Like, they're asking
Yeah, yeah.
me about this, you know? And so it's it's definitely different. It's way different. I nobody ever stops me and says, I see your ads.
No, that'd be weird for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's just like, "Bro, you're like the real estate guy, right?" Like, that
Yeah.
would be like a cold person.
Yeah.
When I get somebody who's like, "You like talk about real estate and stuff, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then other people will be like, "Bro, I love you for faith." And then
Yeah.
another person will be like, "Bro, I love your podcast." And then another person might be like, "Bro, I've been to a wealth con or a live event."
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of dimensions that they could come into.
Yeah, it's important. That's probably our biggest thing we need to work on as a company, I would say.
Just building organic.
Building organic and just taking it seriously,
Yeah.
Which I think the big thing is having the in-person approach to it is gonna help a lot.
I am a full believer in that.
Yeah.
I think in this world where info becomes like I said, less valuable and it's like very much like, oh, anybody can start making a course or, the information could be different and structured different and, whatever. But it's like, bro, there's just things that like in person wise, somebody goes to an in-person event and has an experience at that event that they'll never be able to like forget. Like I said, I've had people who uh, we've done stuff together and it didn't work out, and they still come to my events today. And they're like, "Bro, you know what? Like, I know who you are. Like, I've been to the events. Like it didn't work. It's all good, man."
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
So, tell me a little bit about the other thing you did was you've made posts and you've done some investments with me too, but like you started investing in lots of
Yeah, let
crap
me let
too.
me tee you up on that. So I looked on the way here. I don't know if it was 2021, but it was at least 2022 and 2023. I made about 6 investments. 350K in one syndication, 100% loss. 150K in another one, 100% loss. Then there's another 150 and another 250. Both like, we'll see what happens with the refinance. Those ones look a little better, but not where you want your investment to be. Could be 100% loss.
Mhm.
Then there was Pineda Capital, dude. Return of capital. Whatever the return, 20 something percent return. I was like, you know, but yeah, I mean, that's one thing that's really been a struggle is, um, I mean, when I first started, I was making so much money hand over fist, and I bought all these single family homes. They were in Missouri and, all sorts of places. That was stupid. Like I deserved a beating on that one. Um, and so I had probably 30-ish stores. I lost money on all of them. I mean, I just offloaded them really quickly. So obviously I was going to lose money. Some I had to pay.
Some guy like me came and bought them for pennies.
Yeah. Or I mean, some I just literally had to pay the bank. I mean, it was like underwater.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, these are, and they were just so like, you know how it is with like those really low cost homes. It's like one repair is like, okay,
More than the home.
that's gonna wipe out my cash flow for the next like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So then I did the Airbnb thing, and that one I mean, I'll give myself credit for this. I like studied the crap out of that. I was like, I'm really gonna
I
understand
remember you
this,
called me about it.
and I was like, I'm gonna understand it, and I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna like have an in-house management too. We did try a PM, but eventually I was like, we're gonna manage these ourselves. Issue with that is I think I did a lot of good things there. I just like bought right when Airbnb went to shit. And I mean, even people who, and interest rates were going up too. So even people who were like good at Airbnb got screwed.
Right.
So that, I mean, I bought a 2.2 million house. I bought a 1.1 million house, a 500K, and a 1.5, 1.6.
Because you're trying to get the depreciation loophole.
Well,
Short-term loophole.
I got that.
Yeah.
That was nice. But then I think I sold it and I got recapture anyways. But then I got recapture, but I also got the capital loss from the house sale and actually losing money on the investment. So I got to roll that forward. So I might have broke even on that. So then I got screwed on that. So then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on my business like I should have been. And I'm doing syndications. And this is an area where I'm still like, I don't know exactly what to do with my investment portfolio because obviously so I got to that point in my career in 2022, 2023, and then I probably took a little break in 2024. And obviously, as you know, a lot of syndicators, they're getting stuff on floating rate or a bridge loan or whatever, stupid shit. And basically, interest rates went up. They all got screwed.
Yeah.
So a lot of those, like, I mean, I didn't invest in any that like the actual operations of the property was crap. It just like they can't deal with the
The market
debt.
got crushed.
They can't deal with the debt. And like a lot of these are looking at like going back to the bank or at 100% loss. So it's kind of interesting. Now I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, I obviously am not going to do this myself. Um, I do think actually real estate now, because of that, and because of people having to dish those properties back to the bank or sell them way below replacement costs or whatever, I think there actually is opportunity now. You can correct me if I'm wrong, for people who are really good. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think there's opportunity now. But the question is okay, how do I really vet out these syndicators? I do
Yeah.
Ken McElroy's deals. He's somebody I trust.
Yeah.
But he's like an OG.
Yeah.
So I'll do his. Outside of that, I'm kind of like, I'm a little skittish on
Yeah.
it. And what I've been actually looking into is like, I'm a big index funds person, but the issue with index funds right now is like, all the gains are from 7 companies, right? And they're all because of AI reinvestment. And I'm sure you've seen all the charts. It's kind of pretty much a big bubble, right? Now the bubble could pop. Maybe the bubble keeps going. Maybe eventually they end up, all those companies end up generating a lot of revenue. We don't know. But it is a little bit. I have a lot of exposure into the index funds and S&P and stocks and all that. But it's not really. It doesn't. We're at all time highs. It like doesn't feel like the best place to keep dumping capital into, at least for now.
Yeah.
And I already have a lot of exposure there. So if it keeps going up, I'm fine. So I'm like, I think real estate's a good opportunity, but I kind of deal with the syndicator issue. So what I've thought of is, for a guy like you, you wouldn't do this, but keep in mind, I'm not the real estate expert, is like looking into like institutional grade fund to fund type people that allocate across, you have tons of different operators. So there's not as much operator risk. There's not as much deal risk because it's tons of different deals. And also, there's not as much, like it's not all multifamily.
Yeah.
So some of these funds will do allocations to storage, multi, single family, etc.
Yeah.
And then that way I'm kind of like, am I going to lose returns opposed to a really good syndication? Absolutely. But I can get an 8% or 9% return,
Yeah.
and it's almost index like. I'm kind of like indexing the institutional kind of grade capital of that sector.
So let me tell you what I'm going to do. Having now been in real estate for 15 years and have tried everything under the sun.
Mm,
It's interesting because I am like the real estate guy,
yeah.
and the more and more that I just look at the real estate market, sometimes you get jaded when you're in an industry for so
Yeah.
long. So that there is a level of that. But having bought multifamily, having bought single family, having bought Airbnb, having bought
Yeah.
all this stuff, to me, I think the best thing is just being the lender, not having equity,
Yeah.
just being the lender. And I can tell you, if like I sold one of my businesses and I got this big lump sum of cash, I don't know, somebody gives me freaking $30 million, let's just say, right? And if I had $30 million, I would literally just deploy it as a first position lender, hard money. I
Yeah.
know I could make 15 to 20% when you factor in points and interest and everything else.
Yeah.
And if things go south, you get to foreclose
Yep.
and you own the asset.
Yeah.
And if you underwrote it with enough margin, you'll still be fine. Like, to me, that you don't get depreciation, but either way, you're going to recapture if you don't 1031 and all this stuff anyways.
Yeah. I'm in some private credit syndication funds,
Yeah.
and those have been good. One took a haircut,
Yeah.
even with this stuff, but I mean, it's not at 100% capital loss.
No,
It was like 10%
exactly.
haircut on the entire fund. So, I
Yep.
mean, compare that to what I've had on, and look, over 10 years, that's going to be a blip, and so I like those. But yeah, private credit is part of my portfolio. Even I'm looking into private credit for like businesses stuff. Like the traditional private credit people speak about is mostly lending in like the private equity space and all that
Right.
stuff. So I'm looking into that, but I agree with you. Those are good and pretty risk free. I mean, not risk free, but I would say lower risk.
I mean, the
And
worst case is you own a house.
yeah, I mean, I'm in a
Free
fund,
and
so
clear.
I'm not they're gonna own the house,
Right.
but yeah, it's the same concept.
Well, I think like what a lot of hard money guys would do, and maybe we'll talk about it later, is like we could take your money and you're like, bro, I just want 9%. I just want 10. And then, we go out and lend it at, you know, 12 and charge a point or two. And
Yeah.
we keep the points and that's our profit.
Yeah. The only thing I have to keep in mind with that though is you have to, because it is a passive income, you have to factor in the tax.
Yeah.
So it has to be tax adjusted opposed to appreciation.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure the returns are high enough to do
Yeah.
all of that. But with all my bad deals, I have a lot of carry forward over losses. I'll tell you that.
You're all right.
Yeah, my carry forward this year, we just did my taxes. It's substantial. It is insane. I was like, man, like
Well, at what point,
this is crazy.
at what point, do
I'm
you,
like, I'm not gonna pay any tax on.
at what
fucking-
point do you stop being an investor and just throw it in freaking, like the 5% savings and you just, or just focus on your business, right? And buying a,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
and I'm focusing on my business, right? Like all the investments I do are passive. I can pretty much do it in one day a month.
yeah.
Just kind of allocating capital and seeing what's going on. And so, yeah, my main focus is there. Um, with the interest rates coming down a little bit, yeah, the money market funds and all that stuff, and those are also taxed, depending on which ones you do. If you do muni bonds or
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
things, they can be tax free. But yeah, that's another part of my portfolio I'm allocating back to a lot right now, just to have a little bit more dry capital if the market goes down or
Yeah.
there's opportunity, et cetera.
So you mentioned AI earlier. What do you see happening with AI? What are your
Yeah,
predictions?
I mean, I'm definitely not, an AI expert or anything. I think about it mostly as it pertains to my business.
Yeah.
I think from a general perspective, though, I think his name's Balaji. He was like a Bitcoin guy. You might have heard of him.
I
You've
don't know.
definitely probably seen some of this stuff.
Okay.
But he made this uh, post about it, and it talked about how AI is not really replacing right now, at least end to end. It's replacing middle to middle. So for instance, in like software, you still need somebody to come up with the idea to like be able to prompt the AI in the right way. And then the other big thing with software is the QC. But AI really expedites things is middle to middle. And what's funny is if you look at all these Fortune 500 companies that are making cuts, a lot of it is not, some of it is entry level, but it's not senior executive or even revenue producing roles. A lot of it is kind of the middle bureaucracy, right? So it's funny. It's like it's really good middle to middle. Also, where it's actually creating efficiency in companies and job loss is also middle to middle. So I think from a broad perspective, that's kind of like what we're seeing right now. How it pertains, I think about it mostly as it pertains to my business. Um, the way I look at it is right now we're not even a place where like if I have an issue with my Amex card, if call the number on the Amex card, I'm still talking to a human. So that's not even replaced yet.
Yeah.
So I've seen, I think that's going to be the first wave in kind of the sales world that's going to go. The second wave that's already kind of here is like basic local business appointment setting, whatever. I mean, that's easy to have AI callers or AI setting or whatever do that. Um, then there's like a lot of, maybe your transactional type of stuff that's like highly transactional. So maybe ticket sales, abandoned carts on e-commerce, like lower ticket products. Those are pretty easy. Um, Eventually maybe we'll see like software demos done by AI. But like most software companies, like if you book a call with HubSpot, their sales team's not good.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, dude, just give me the demo. Like they're just a glorified demo giver and follow-up person.
Yeah.
So like that's not going to get replaced by AI now, but soon. In terms of what I do mostly, which is very specialized salespeople for services, I mean, it's possible it gets replaced, but I think that'll be one of the last things that does, because all of that stuff is just much easier
To replace.
before that. And then the other thing too is I also like to look at the lens of just, okay, just imagine that, AI will be able to replace everything. That's only one part of it though, because you also have to think about, okay, consumer behavior. Just because AI can replace something, like, like you were talking about events. I mean, this is a goofy example, but like AI could technically hold an event and have a community and there could be a
Yeah.
bunch of robots, but nobody's going to want to go,
Yeah.
right? So there's consumer behavior. Like, if there's an AI salesperson who's just the best person in the world and they're amazing and incredible and whatever, I mean, and they can persuade you to do anything, is a consumer even going to want to talk to that person? If
Right.
you're joining a coaching program, do you really want to talk to an AI or, so consumer behavior is kind of one pillar you have to look at, because just because AI can do it doesn't mean consumers are going to want to work with it, especially when there's so much job loss and chaos created from AI
Yeah.
and everything's going to shift really quickly. There might be a backlash against it. Another thing is regulatory. So like, for instance, if every company has unlimited amount of AI salespeople, they can call you 24/7, 365. Is that going to be compliant forever?
No.
No. Also, if you know anything about FTC regulations, eventually, if you do have an AI salesperson that can close you on high ticket stuff over the calls, they're gonna have to be FTC compliant. If you know anything about regulatory stuff and FTC compliance, if you are like by the book FTC compliant, it sounds like this because you can't see anything. You know what I'm saying? So how is that even gonna work? Right. So you've already seen this too with ChatGPT just came out and said it can't give official legal advice or medical advice. And I think there was one other thing as well. So
Well, they said that you're not protected. Like they could subpoena your chat.
yeah,
It,
that's a different thing.
yeah. And I know.
Yeah, that's a different thing. But it also said that they're going to have to pull back capability on it giving you specific legal advice or even medical advice, because it's like ChatGPT as a thing. It's not board certified or it's not bar certified or whatever. Now there'll be different language models that probably will be. But again, that's like, so you have to look at the regulatory component as well. So it's a long way of saying, I don't know, I think that in the next 7 years for guys like us, it won't fundamentally change too much about what we're doing in our business outside of making our businesses better and using it as a tool to increase productivity and all that stuff. I mean, in 7 to 10 years from now, frankly, nobody knows. Even the top experts in the space just all completely disagree about,
Yeah, because it's
yeah,
exponentially happening, so it's hard to
yeah,
fathom.
yeah. I mean, right now, too, the language models have kind of topped out. So the question's going to become when everything goes more agentic, which people have been saying the agent wave is coming for like 3 years now. So apparently it's about to come, but who knows? But once things go agentic and the AI can actually learn from interface through from the real world like we do, because you got to think like the way we learn is we have all these inputs from the world, and then we're constantly in a feedback loop of adjusting. But the AI has to be taught, right? So its feedback loop actually has to come from a human, not a real world interface with the real world experience. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So
Well,
Now once that can happen,
I think
that's
Tesla
when that's
self-driving is the only thing that's
well,
like
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Which is apparently I saw even today, Karparthi post about it that he was very impressed. It was very good.
yeah.
So that's definitely coming as well.
Yeah, Tesla has the most real world data, period,
Yeah.
like of any AI company in the world.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not an expert. I wouldn't be the person to listen to on it. I think that I think for us, it's going to help in the short term. Long term, nobody really knows.
What are
Who
you doing
knows?
in your business with it? What are some things that you're using
A
for?
lot of it is just increased productivity. I mean, to be honest, it's really good for market research, for new creatives, new campaigns, stuff like that. Uh, One of the biggest things is using Sora, Google VEO3 for ad hooks.
Oh, how is that performing for you?
Crushing.
Really?
Oh yeah,
So is it you or what is it?
like I did one on Sora I could show you. And we haven't even edited this yet, but I showed it to my team. And so it's like I've always this is so
It's beating the real thing?
oh yeah. And like so we all have Google VEO3 will use a different face. It'll be somebody totally different. And they'll just say our hook and then it'll like splice into a different AI avatar or somebody or even splice into one of my ads. So
Got
we
it.
use it for the hooks. That works. Also Sora, like what's nice about that is you can create like skits. So I've always wanted to do one that's like this. Yeah. Oh shit. Did that go to my
Yeah, I went to your tickets.
yeah, but you can kind of see how this is. It's like a sales rep trying to close the barn door.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, do you have sales reps in your company who can't close the barn door? Then I would just splice it right there and then go into my
Normal
hook of
video.
my hat. So that has been very good. It's pretty good for copy variations. It's not great at writing copy, in my opinion. Like to have ads that work really well, you have to make standout copy or standout angles. And that requires some sort of innovation or some sort of creativity. This is all trained on previous working data. So by default, it's not going to be as good, but it's okay. It's better than a bad copywriter, but it's not like world class. But I think the video components of it are very, very good. And then outside of that, I mean, we have a software. This is one I'm a investor in and use. I own 20-ish% that automates all of our sales ops with AI. So that's been a huge, not only productivity increase because we get to hire less people, but at the same time, I mean, it does our sales ops better and our calendar management.
What is sales ops for you? What
So
does that
sales ops is basically so with marketing, it's like they're responsible from everything from somebody not knowing who you are to becoming a qualified call,
Yeah.
let's say. Then sales takes it from live call, like they answer the phone, to close. Everything in between that which factors into show rates, making sure the leads are sorted the right way, making sure the leads are quality, making sure they're ones that the reps can make offers to. Do we double or single book appointments? How do the confirmations work? What do they see before the appointment? All of that stuff is the sales ops. Grading the leads, grading the applications. We have almost all of that done with AI
Yeah.
through all the nurture sequences, follow ups, all of the back and forth, as well as well as the application grading, how we use like we'll financially pull their data, and does that mean they go to this closer, that closer? Do they go to a setter? So all the lead routing, whether we single or double book people. Also looking at all the data in the applications. So like for instance, we'll look at everything from like the email handle they put, right? So like I'll give you an example. We are probably twice as profitable, have a twice as high revenue per application on people who have company emails
Yeah.
than Gmails.
That makes sense.
What doesn't make sense is Yahoo is 50% higher than Gmail.
Because they're old.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
The
But
only an old
there's
person
weird
would
stuff
have.
like
Yeah.
that. So like we have every single little data point you could have on your application can kind of filter into an algorithm that does all the lead sorting. So the best people can go to the best closers and apps that have historically low show rate get double booked, or maybe they go to a setter. So that's all through AI. And then outside of that, just like basic productivity stuff. So you know, stuff the operations team does, like creating recruiting scorecards for the reps we're looking for, um, stuff like that.
Got it. So for you, I mean, you're back to building the B2C.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got the B2B recruiting. Sounds like, obviously you have your passive investments, but you're pretty much done doing the
Portfolio.
equity thing,
Yeah.
right? Um, what is your long-term plan? Do you want to sell the business? What's the
So
goal?
here's how I would look at it. It's a good question. So just by continue, even without content, Just by continuing to scale our outbound team, one of the bits, dude, this is you're gonna laugh at this, and this is embarrassing coming from the sales guy, is one of the best initiatives we have right now is we just build a whole team to call leads. Like we have our main setter team calling like the leads that are coming in like ASAP within 5 minutes and whatever, and they like hound them for 7 days. But after 7 days, like the pickup rate and the set rate's gonna go way down. But we basically just built a new team to call our entire pipeline. So we have like we call it pipeline setters, and then we have the inbound setters that handle them when they're new. That pipeline setting division, we should be able to get an extra like 200 appointments out of that, which is insane,
Hmm.
right? Like
Like they're calling literally a lead that's
a year old.
100 a year old.
Yeah, whatever.
They're just calling 'em out of the blue. Hey, I saw you a year ago.
Yeah.
We're interested.
I mean, it's super basic, not complicated. So between that, between just continuing to improve our marketing, just spend more on ads, make more creatives, all the boring stuff. Scaling the sales team, pretty boring stuff there. We have an outbound team that's working really well. So scaling that team, just the back end team continuing to generate more and more revenue. We should just through those things be able to get our B2B to about 50 million a year. Right. I think a lot of that will come next year. We're on a really good growth trajectory for that. The B2C should add about 10 million, so that would be 60 million total. So I think we could just continue kind of doing what we're doing to get to 60. Then the three big things that I think can take us to 100 is the content thing is one because it can help the ads perform better. It can bring CAC lower to zero. It can also get us better customers, all the things that it does, right? So that's a big thing that if I really pop that off, that would obviously add a lot of revenue. The other thing is there's actually 3, I'm only thinking of 2. But the other thing is that we're gonna go up market a little bit. I call it the enterprise division, but it's not enterprise. We're not gonna go after billion-dollar companies. But right now, we're very focused on the info space, and the reason we've been focused there is because even if you're somebody hiring your first rep, because I'm so familiar with that space and I come with that space, I can kinda if you're hiring your first rep, your business isn't probably fully optimized and ready for a rep. But I can help you with your marketing because I totally get it as an info business owner or agency or whatever, how that works. I can help build out your sales process. I can install the right things. I can kind of like get your business off the ground. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
Whereas like if you're a roofer looking for your first rep, I don't know how to like teach you how to run your roofing business. Okay. But what we're going to do is launch a whole other division that's really going to be broad because we can place any, like we've placed way 100 different industries, moving companies, all the trades, every single trade we've done, SaaS companies, you name it. So we're going to launch an initiative that's going to go much broader to work with any business with the minimum requirement that they have to have 10 plus sales reps.
Got it.
Because once they get to about that level, they're validated enough to where really they just need, it's straightforward. They're like,
They
oh,
have their
well,
own process
they
to
have their own
train up.
process. Things are good. Like
Yeah.
it's working. We can just focus on the recruiting and then just focus on improving their existing sales ops, sales process, sales systems, whatever. But it's already there. We tried this in the past where we struggled with it is the way I did the ads and the qualifications. I would get companies on the phone, like from any different industry. They might be doing 10 mil a year, which is great, but they like totally got there from word of mouth referrals. They have nothing in place.
Right.
So building out that division's huge because also if you look at people in our space, even a lot of the people who've done big on content, you look at Hermosi, Dan Martell, et cetera, Cardone, another thing that they do is they go much broader with their offers, right? And I'm in this little kind of pond, but sales recruiting, I mean, we could really do it for anybody. I mean, we work with one of the biggest private equity roll-ups of roofing companies. We crush it for them, but they're doing over $100 million a year. So like, as long as we give them somebody that's good, they're good. I don't have to teach them how to, do roofing sales.
Yeah, they already got
But we
their
can look at
system.
their sales ops and maybe give them some suggestions and optimizations, et cetera. But, I don't have to like teach a roofer how to hire his first rep and how to have a sales process. And then also the other thing is too is if I work with a lot of people who are small businesses who are hiring, they have 2 reps. If I give you 2 more reps, you've doubled your company. So your next rep that you might need might be a year away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the space I live in now. It's fine. It's obviously done really well for me, but to expand it, I kind of need to go to these other spaces. So that's a big aspect as well as enterprise. Oh, the outbound is another thing, but the enterprise content,
Yeah.
yeah.
And outbound. So if you get to that level, what happens?
Yeah, I don't know. So, I'm not really too interested in like a private equity exit. I've looked into doing a bank financed ESOP with a trust. That seemed super attractive. There's all sorts of cool stuff you can do there because you can basically get 2 to 3x of your EBITDA from senior bank debt, seller finance the rest to get to the multiple that you want to. That's supposed to be a market multiple. And then also because you're selling it to the employees, there's certain tax laws to where you can basically, if you reinvest that into QRP, you can get that 100% tax free. So you can exit completely tax free and also maintain control of your company as a chair to allocate the capital and do other M&A at that point if you want to. So I thought about that. I'm going to look into it a little bit more. The only issue I've talked to some people who are pretty experienced in this space that have looked into it is that you just don't get great valuations. So a lot of people end up regretting it because they just get crappy valuations from because it's mainly
You'd have
driven.
been better off selling and
It's
getting, taxed.
Yeah, it's mainly, driven off, bankers, which bankers aren't looking at the upside. They're just looking at return of capital, right? So I've looked into that as terms of something because that's not really as much of a pure exit strategy as it is more of a chips off the table,
Yeah.
also helping my employees make a lot of money, et cetera. But I do think, to come full circle again, I think I'll get to a point, if I'm doing I can just keep doing what I'm doing to get to 60. At that point or even getting higher than that, the big difference between my recruiting company and companies that do 100 million or even a billion, the ones that are doing 100 to 200 million, they have less clients than me. Their clients are just worth more.
Yeah.
So it's just a unit economics thing, which I'm fixing with that one initiative. Then if you look at the billion-dollar companies, they're just a conglomeration of a bunch of recruiting companies. So I think at that point, if I revisit doing the portfolio thing, it's going to be more, oh, this business is cool. I think I can grow it. It'll be more strategic to where I might look into acquiring a company that does HVAC techs for recruiting because that's relatively AI proof because it's an in-person actual type of thing. I'm not an expert in HVAC tech recruiting, so I can acquire the talent for that. But what I can do is if they're doing 5 or 10 million a year and they're just mainly off of kind of some brittle marketing and sales, I can use my model of how I sell stuff to just like turbocharge that company. And then we have a whole other product line of our whole recruiting division. And we can cross sell those people into the sales recruiting. So if I do it again, I would do it like that, but I would actually buy the company and I would for sure have majority control,
Yeah.
you know?
What does the recruiting offer look like? Because most recruiters are like what, 20% of the first year
Well,
salary.
yeah, that's more of executive headhunting, right? So there's two types of recruiting. There's executive headhunting, which is like a percentage of salary, percentage of hire, or whatever. Those people are more looking to place executives or obviously people who get paid a lot
Yeah.
because that's how they make their money. They're not going to be running ads. Like that game is much of a what VCs do you know? What PE firms do you know? What are your connections within a certain space? I'm in the more world of what's called RPO, which is recruiting process outsourcing. So that's where you have like the VA companies, sales rep companies, stuff like that. And that model is actually much more attractive, anyways, even to investors, because it's much more prone to recurring, right? I mean, you can kind of get recurring revenue with executive headhunting firms, but like once you have your executive, you have your executive. Whereas, like, if I take on a client that is, let's say, has 100 sales reps, their churn on sales reps might be 3 to 5% a month, let's
Yeah.
say. It could be higher than that.
Right.
So just to maintain the revenue they're doing, they're going to need 5 sales reps a month.
Yep.
Okay. To grow, they're probably going to need 10 sales reps a month. And that's a monthly needs to happen every month. Those companies too, the issues that they tend to have is they'll have full built out internal recruiting teams, but those people are doing everything. And it's very hard for them to focus on sales enough to get the volume the sales team needs. So that's why a lot of those companies will opt for an RPO firm. So that's kind of how we're positioning for that. Does
And
that
so
make
what do you
sense?
do? You just charge them a monthly fee and you'll recruit X
So
number of
so so
people.
if it's essentially a company that's that big to where it's more of a bulk package, it's what we're gonna do is bill it like a attorney retainer model to where it's like 4 to 6K a hire, and then but we bill a certain amount of hires up front. So we might bill 8 hires up front for a 32 grand bill, and then you use the hires, and as soon as you hire the next one, we just bill the next 32 grand, and then you use it.
I
Does that
got
make sense?
Okay.
Now, with those types of contracts, like we have to kind of get in with more of a low barrier offer. So it's like a 10K test offer. Let's give you a bunch of candidates, see if you like it, or a 5K or something like that. Because that kind of bypasses this whole these big companies take forever to make decisions. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, just 5K, just try it. We're
Yeah.
gonna lose money on that, but we just want to win your business. But that's if they're like 30, 40, 50 reps plus. That is a more of our enterprise type of service. We have like 10 people in there now. If they're a little bit lower, generally we just bundle it in to where it's going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 reps, but we're adding in a lot of sales consulting and even maybe some marketing consulting sometimes and charging, 18 to 24 grand for that. But it's kind of more of a holistic package.
Yeah, that's a true just coaching and
Kind of.
recruiting
Yeah. I mean,
offer.
it's like they come for the recruits, they get the recruits, but they're also getting like a
I
sales
think that's what we
consultant.
bought from you.
Yeah. A sales
Yeah.
consultant that's actually working in their
Yep.
business and they're getting the content, they're getting all of that stuff. And then that's honestly done really, really well.
Yeah.
And that
And
could
I and
work in other
I will
industries
vouch
as
for
well.
that for anyone listening. Like, it was great.
Well, thank you.
I don't remember what it was. It was years ago, but it was like, yeah, it was like 20 grand, and we got X number of reps and X number of months of consulting, and um they definitely refined some of our sales processes and,
Yeah.
taught us things that we weren't doing.
Yeah. Well, back then, man, you were just making posts and they were just going to your IG bio and you were
Just
raining in cash.
just ripping.
You were doing the bare minimum, dude.
I kind of still feel like I do that. Um when I hear you saying like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this and this and this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So like, we run a Facebook ad, and we run into one funnel, and like, let's just
Uh,
rip.
yeah, but you got the content stuff, so that's
Yeah.
what helps.
So when you look at this world of everything you've been through with sales and enterprise, and working with the small guy trying to get started, working with some big private equity firms, and watching your own progression over the last bunch of years. I mean, what are the biggest lessons that you think you've learned from it?
Well, the big one that's on my mind recently, and this is a thing where I do think building the portfolio stuff can work. But what I did is I created more opportunity then I had the talent to handle the opportunity. And that's not a knock on my team. I have an insanely talented team. It's just like when I was taking on a lot of these extra things or looking to build a portfolio or whatever, I needed more key people to really lead those projects. Because I probably could have made those 3 companies at once work that got me to 7 million a month. I probably could have made it work. The issue is I tried to have at
Now, one
first
guy was doing two of them.
one guy was doing 2,
Yeah.
and then we made a switch around, and then the other guy was doing 2. So, and then like both didn't work, right? If we would have had just if number one, we would have went slower, right? Because we just nuke stuff as fast as we can. If we just would have went a little bit slower, and then at the same time, if I just would have had an extra key operator, I think probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
But that is a big thing. And if you just look at like Hormozy's team or just people who get bigger and bigger, their just team quality is ridiculous, you
Yeah.
know? And it just it just feels like there's no ceiling to it as well. Like the bigger companies I meet and the bigger entrepreneurs that are more successful, it's just like their team's on another level. Like I think in our industry, I would put my team up against anybody. But then when I look at people who've gotten to 100 million or et cetera, in like other industries, it's just like, holy shit. So you have to have the team, and you can only expand the opportunity as much as you expand the talent. So like a great example is, with your brand, you could probably do a lot of business deals. But the key is you have to have the operator. Like
Yeah.
you have to have that person that you can depend on where it almost feels like, okay, I'm going to do this whole other project or this whole other business, but it's not a whole other business. It's actually just one extra direct report for me.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. If you can make it like that, that's good. Once you go beyond that and you're like, now you're in the business, not good.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing with bringing back our B2C. I brought back the guy who used to run it too. So it's like, that's very easy for me because outside of doing what I got to do with the marketing, I'm just like, I talk to him. That's it. Right.
He's good.
Perfect.
He's a
Yeah.
great operator.
Yeah. So that's the key. Now, those people, easier said than done, those people are really hard to find.
Yeah.
So I say that's a big lesson. I mean, I think scaling very quickly in 2020, 2021, I can't blame myself for doing it. It did, there's growing pains in doing that. I do regret growing the medical company as fast as we did. That was like
Yeah.
insanity. So sometimes growing too fast is another big lesson. But I think the talent, and just making a lot of knee jerk reactions, like I got real burned out. I shut the B2C down. If I would have thought it through, I should have just kept the organic.
Yeah.
We had a whole YouTube channel doing 300 grand a month. Should have kept that. And then just like tapered down the ads a little bit and then just took a breather. Right. So I think those are some of the biggest lessons.
How did you scale these businesses so quickly? I get that it was a different time and so
Yeah.
scaling was easier. But like even today, when you're like, hey, we're gonna restart the B2C now, like obviously paid is gonna be a huge part of at least scaling quicker. Like
Yeah.
organic takes time to, build and all that stuff. But like what metrics do you look for? Because I've struggled to scale paid at like the levels you have.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm very good at the call. I mean, even low ticket, our best net CAC funnel is a low ticket funnel.
What is it?
It's just a $27 offer. It's got some bumps, got some upsells. They book a call. It's you've seen it, you know. But it was hard to crack. I will say it was a fucking lot of effort. It was hard to crack, and we're like $2,000 a day, so it's like not a huge spend. But if I'm spending 15, that's like 15% of my spend. That's super efficient. I'll take that.
Because
And
that's kind of what I got at. I have this evergreen webinar
yeah.
that sells a ticket to a once a month workshop. And right now I'm at 2 grand a day and like I love the margins. But I've tried to scale it to 9 grand a day and it just
Well,
completely
that's a big scale. Yeah, the
yeah.
way to think about it is like, so okay, so for like a I'll give it an example for our low ticket. To really scale it, it just comes down. I mean, there is a market size component to it, but let's just say that's not a component for now because it's, you know, do I think I could scale this to 5 grand a day? Yeah, like the market's not capped at 2.5, but
But
you
like
can't
how
get to
would you
five.
scale to
So
5 a day other
I'm
than just
telling you,
spending
I'm telling
money?
you, I'm telling you.
Okay.
So number one is I know this is just like I'm beating the same drum. The main thing is creating fundamentally different ad angles that work. So like the reason I told you to read that book, Great Leads, is it talks about six main lead types. There's offer leads, promise leads, problem leads, story leads, secret leads, and proclamation leads. So any one of those would be a fundamentally different creative type. And then you also have tons of other stuff. You could do extremely heavy proof ads. You could do a case study type of story ad that falls under a story lead. You could do kind of like a hero skit type of ad. You just got to make sure the copy's really good with all the jump cuts and all that stuff. So like it's really creating more. It's like every single creative that you have, it's like as it takes hold, it's like you imagine your market is like a circle. It's like each new creative, it kind of takes hold and then you create a bunch of variations of that and it kind of goes a little bit like you expand it. But then when you make a fundamentally different creative, you might hit this other segment of the market right here. So attacking with a lot of creative is a big thing. It's also like, and this is something I don't really know how to put into a science I can teach, but I'm very good at understanding if a funnel is efficient enough um, from the conversion side, not just the creative side. So like on the low ticket, like I know what industry standard bump takes are, OTO takes are, AOV, et cetera. So like I can kind of get a feeling of like, okay, is the funnel good or do we still need to test to get AOV
Yeah, if the funnel
higher?
sucks, the creative doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I have a good aspect with that. Same thing on the call funnel side is when we launch that, I can usually tell pretty early based on what the costs are and what the CAC is. And once I know where the CAC is, I kind of am like, okay, this thing has room to grow. Like a lot of people, they might get to 200 grand a month, but they did it off a shitty funnel in the first place. And so their CAC was never even that good in the first place. So they get to 200 and they're like, "Oh, I can't skip." But their funnel's not very good,
Yeah.
right? I will try something until I'm like, "Okay, right now at 100 to 200 grand a month, it's at 10x plus. I know it's going to have way higher room of
Yeah, if it's
growth."
that good.
And then it just becomes it's kind of like the first phase is just that initial validation. The reason I can scale it so fast is I get the funnel that has the wide enough runway from the very beginning. And then it just becomes, okay, can we spend more on ads, make more creatives, and can we hire more salespeople? Which obviously I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
So once I get into the mode where it's just more spend, more salespeople, that's how,
Because it's already been cracked at that point.
yeah. And so like, that's how we scaled the medical company so fast is like, dude, with that thing, um,
How much creative would you need, uh, at a $2,000 a day funnel, a 5,000, a 10,000?
I'd have to like sit down and really think about it. But if you can create 20 new fundamentally different ads a month and then variations from those 20, so I mean that's going to be 200 plus.
Yeah,
You're going to be fine for a while,
yeah.
So
My problem is I rarely even change ours.
yeah, you got to test a lot. And it's just a lot. Yeah, I mean,
What about the evergreen? You guys ever do evergreen webinars and stuff?
no.
What about evergreen? Like,
Well, we did an automated webinar at one point.
what about like your VSL? How often do you switch that?
That, to be honest, well, okay. So with call funnels, most of our ads are essentially like the CTA to book a call. Everything they need to know to book a call is in the ad itself.
The ads, the VSL.
So yes, I call it the ad sell, right? It's just like everything. So the VSL is like, it's on the next page. It's kind of just like a supplementary video. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is something that's working really well, by the way. I just tested this. So I actually got this from looking at a dude's low ticket funnel. And so I changed my call to actions from like, if that sounds interesting, click this ad, watch the video on the next page and apply and book a call, yada, 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 to I just changed it to, if that sounds interesting, click this ad. I created a free assessment that'll help you X, Y, and Z. And then based on your results, I'll send you a customized video of how we're going to help you get to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so it's a quiz funnel, but I just kind of like change the frame and it still goes to like a direct offer VSL.
Yeah.
And I can just maybe make 2 or 3 versions of that depending on the results. And what I found with that is my cost per opt-in was I thought it'd be higher because it's way more friction. There's way more questions, way lower.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what's really nice about that is because they're basically filling in an application, I can essentially do financial pools on that app data, send that back to the pixel to where only the people with the income levels that I want.
They start targeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a key thing. And honestly, that's what we retested for our B2C and it's ripping.
Yeah.
And I saw it on low ticket. I saw this on this dude's funnel. His name was Jake Tran. And I don't even know who he is. Somebody just sent it to me. They're like, this is really good. So I just checked it out. And he does like a low ticket, like the $27 or this and that thing. But it's a quiz on the front end. And now I don't know why he does the quiz on the front end, but what I thought of when I saw that is I was like, oh my God, if I can liquidate with a quiz on the front end of my low ticket, I get all the benefits of the low ticket and I just get free leads for my setters to call.
Are you
And we'll
are
just
you truly
destroy them.
100% liquidating?
No, ours is a 50.
Yeah.
But like the net CAC at the end of the day of that funnel compared to our other ones is half as much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's gnarly.
So if you were me, with M19, my golf mastermind, right now we've just been running literal just book a call app.
Yeah.
And we're spending like 1,000 a day.
Yeah.
And I tried to scale it to 2, 3, but I just didn't like the returns. And so I've just been like cool
Yeah.
with it at 1,000 a day. But that's literally it. And it's just growing great organically in that. But like I do want to scale it. What would your advice be?
Well, yeah, with that, I don't think you need any sort of fancy funnel. That should be very much like an ad right to an application.
Yeah.
Maybe
I had
it's
the VSL on the homepage.
yeah,
And then they
yeah.
opt in.
Well, you could I would just do an ad either right to the application or I do an ad to a page with a video that just tells them more about what it is. And I wouldn't even make that like I wouldn't make it like a VSL. I would make that more like a YouTube video that really kind of like shows the experience as well as everything that's in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a highlight. You
Yeah.
can see what's
And then I
happening.
just have them apply. I would try one of those 2 formats, if not both. And then, I mean, that's all I would do. And then I think in order to scale it, you probably just need to like,
Film a bunch of ads.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying this again and again. But like, what's probably happening, man, is that your ad is not that good.
Yep.
And so what's happening is people in your audience who already know you are like, oh, what's Ryan up to today? What's his ad about today? Then like, oh, he's doing this golfing thing. That sounds pretty fucking cool. But then like, yeah, you like once you get to 2,000, you're like branching into a colder pocket, probably still of people who know you, but they need a little bit more like this looks badass. I'm gonna do it. You
Yeah.
know?
So you
So
think the highlight reel in the ad
well, yeah, I would try all sorts of stuff. I mean, dude, one of our best ads is like a 15-minute VSL as the ad.
is the ad?
I know, isn't that weird? But it just that's one of our best ads too. But I think for you, I mean, I would just be doing a lot of different content-esque type of creatives, making sure the copy is good, all that stuff. And I mean, I think if you really focus on the ads, you'll get more scale out of it.
Yeah. All right.
But also at the end of the day, you're getting new members in, the return's good. This is something that doesn't have a lot of churn. You could
Yeah.
also just be patient.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. But you
But
should probably test more ads. Put
I
more
need to
effort
test
into
it for everything I do.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway from this whole hour and a half.
Well, yeah, it's like you probably need to put more effort into it's like you put a lot of effort into content. You just gotta, like, think of ads as, like, another little, like, to-do of your content. Like, you gotta film short form content, I'm sure, sometimes. Just think of, like, "Oh, I gotta go film some ads sometimes." But just put more intentionality into it opposed to, like, because you gotta think, with short form, you can probably kinda get away with riffing it a little bit more
Yeah,
because, like, even if it does well, it's like a spike and then,
it's gone.
whatever. But a great ad
I get to
can
use
run
it.
for a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you just need to have more intentionality about it. But you have everything in place to do it. Like I'll tell you this, my biggest challenge with my ad production is not having the in-person stuff. Because like I can sit in front of the
How many
camera.
ad editors do you have?
We have 4 editors.
Yeah.
So like the
I'm
editing
wondering if I should
the
just hire an editor strictly for ads, and their
y-
whole job is
y-
to make new ads every day.
probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
That's a good idea, but then also intentionally writing them out, thinking about the hooks more and filming it, and then you have everything here. Because I was gonna say one of my biggest challenges is all my ads generally, because it's the easiest thing for me to do, is just my home studio setup talking head.
That's what must. This is right here.
Right. But like also, if you can do some ads walking, if you could do you gotta still be sharp with the copy though.
Yeah.
That's probably where
Would
you're
you say?
yeah.
So would you say same thing, different settings? Like, how do you interpret that as a different bucket or no?
Same thing, different settings. It depends on how fundamentally different the setting is. So like
I'm driving. I'm at the golf course. I'm
yeah,
here.
those are all good to do. You should do that.
Okay.
But like I would say all of those are kind of like if you're saying the same words, that kind of still falls within the same bucket. Now, if you're talking about a talking head ad versus like a high production ad with a ton of B-roll and you're golfing and that could be enough to
So give me
be
like 4 buckets of golf ads. How would you consider fundamentally different buckets?
fundamentally different buckets for golf. Well, so the first thing I would think about is what are people tired of? Like what is the pain? And then also, what do people want? So, like different people, I'll give you an example that's for like sales, right? Is some people might want a setter because they have a bunch of leads that aren't getting hit up quick enough.
Right.
Other people might want a setter because they have no leads at all and they think the setter is going to get on LinkedIn and magically generate them leads. Some people want a setter because they're like, dude, I got 100,000 leads in my CRM. Nobody calls them.
Yeah.
Other people might want them because they're like, dude, I need somebody to call my leads so my closer has better show up rates. So you see how those are all like fundamentally different problems. So those could be different buckets.
Yeah.
And then you can change the setting all within those. So think about like pain points and solutions. So I don't know what it is with golf. Like some people might be, dude, like, do you want to join a high level mastermind, but you wish that instead of having to sit through a dark, cold room all day, you could actually do stuff like you could actually basically
That has been an ad.
the 10% of the experience you actually like, which is a networking and experience of the thing, could be 100% of the experience.
Yeah.
So like there's kind of an angle that's like that. There could be an angle that's like, hey, are you a golfer that you're high net worth and you want to golf with other like are you already golfing this amount of time? You're a high net worth person and you want to make money actually as you're golfing by networking with the right people. So one's kind of going for the people who's tired of masterminds. Another person's who's they're high net worth, they're already golfing.
Yeah.
Because I think if you really want to grow it, that's how I would think about it. Is like, sure, like the info space, you'll get people from that. But there's probably a ton of people who are like high net worth golf people.
I would say
Yeah.
we only have 10% of info people.
Oh, that's good.
Like almost none. It is normal high net worth people with random everyday businesses.
Oh, that's great. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like angles to those people.
Yeah. We have
too.
lawyers, logistics, service companies, real estate guys.
Yeah.
Man,
You could
we
make
got
an
so
ad
many.
about like, because it's almost like you're in the space of like competing almost with like YPO.
Yep.
So you could make
I
an
call it
ad.
the EO of golf.
You could make an ad crapping on chapters and YPO and whatever and why this is better.
I used to be in YPO.
Yeah.
I am in this.
So you could tell a story about that. That would be a fundamentally different ad.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
But
Hey,
you
I
gotta
used to be
kinda
in
like
YPO. Now I
what
like
what
this
generally
better.
people do is and this would be helpful for you. Generally, people get one ad to work and then they make they're like, dude, I'm making 100 ads a month. And I'm like, let me look at them. And it's all just variations of the one ad that worked.
Right.
They're like, well, I did it in my car. And it's like, well, dude, like you got to say some different words from now and then. Like, I'm glad you did it in your car. Like, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm glad you did one that was black and white.
So to me, this is what I think, just hearing you and systematically thinking it through. I'm going to create 6 different, fundamentally different ideas, film them all here, film them all at the course, film them all in the car.
Yeah.
So I get all of the variations of the 6 different ideas in 6 different settings.
And think about it like the lead types. So this is probably how I should have answered your question from the very beginning is so the 6 different lead types, there's offer-based leads. That could be like, hey, if you're a high net worth person and you love golfing, come out with us for one time. If you don't feel like through the connections, the ideas, and the value you get on your business, if you don't feel like it's an ROI on the first trip that you take with us, we'll give you your money back or whatever. Right? That's an offer-driven lead. A promise-driven lead would be something that's more of like a gain thing. So it's like, that's kind of like what we talked about. Are you a high net worth person, but and you golf all the time, but you actually want to make more money when you're golfing by networking with the right people, right? Imagine if every single time you golfed, it was with a certain type of people of this type of caliber, et cetera. That's like a promise lead. Problem lead is like what we talked about. Are you tired of sitting in the cold rooms of masterminds watching a bunch of speakers that you don't give a shit about?
Yeah.
Right? Proclamation lead is like a prediction. So,
Golf is growing. I predict it's going to be massive.
yeah,
You gotta get in
or
now.
like the traditional mastermind by 2027 is going to be dead. Nobody wants to sit, watch speakers, do this and that, whatever. What people are actually going to want is experiences. So if you want to network with, so that's like a prediction lead. There's a story lead, which is like your YPO experience. So you can think about that when you categorize them in those lead types. That will make it a lot easier.
And
I can
that's in
also,
that book you sent me?
yes, it's a good book.
Yeah, I'm going to have to write those down.
It's like you'll get tons. The best part about that book is you just get a ton of ideas reading the book.
Yeah.
Like it's actually, you could read that in the middle of your day if you're like, fuck, I need to make some ad ideas. And dude, you will cook up tons.
Just
It's
reading the book.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to read it. What was the book again for everyone?
Great
listening?
leads.
Great Leads.
Yeah.
By who?
I think it's by Mark Ford or it's by some people that were in the Agora
Okay.
world.
It's by a guy.
I think
who
it's
was
by
good
Mark
at
Ford and
generating
there's
leads.
another guy.
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
Yeah. Dude, I could talk to you all day and ask you questions, but I know you got to get going, and I do too. So I appreciate you coming on the show. Where can people work with you?
Well, just closers.io. Help me build the social media, man. Cole Gordon on all the channels. But
Yeah.
closers.io, and I try to post content on YouTube
Yeah.
and stuff.
I will tell you guys, Cole's content is good. He just don't post enough of it. Just like I don't make enough lead or ads.
Big enough ads.
I don't make enough ads. He don't post enough.
You just need to work in my business for a month. I'll work in your business for a month.
Yeah. We would probably murder it,
Yeah.
like switching roles like
We
that.
probably would.
I'll be like, bro, guys, this is what we're doing on the organic side. Cole's like, guys, we need 2,000 ads.
Yeah.
My team,
Optimize the
both our teams are just like,
build the sales.
bro,
team.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Guys, go check them out. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.